Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. It's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me make it, they don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
What's up, guys? That's a jam. I was jamming back here, man. I was.
Oh yeah,
hard.
she was dancing.
All
All right, guys, that's a little. That is a little first rough cut of everything there. I still got a little bit of work to do for it and cut it down a little bit more because yeah, that's a little bit long, but it's just a little start of what we've got going on. But go ahead, Ash.
What is up tonight, guys? How is everybody doing? Welcome to yet another evening with the Off Label Podcast, your weekly dose of sanity in an insane world. Have quite a few topics on deck for tonight. Elon Musk wiped away the legacy blue check marks, causing celebrities to absolutely crumble. Florida extends ban on discussing sexuality and gender identity to all grade levels. Alec Baldwin walks free after his manslaughter charges were dropped. Larry Elder announces his bid for the presidency, which is pretty interesting to me particularly. But and then we have a pretty big story here with 6 arrested in an Alabama shooting. But let's get into it. Before we do, make sure to go subscribe to the Off Label Podcast channel And we'll be switching over there after the first story from, I think we're on all of our channels right now, my channel, Voice of the People. So join us over there, migrate over after this first story so you can continue the show. We'd love to see you over there. And make sure to join us on Rumble for an exclusive segment after the YouTube portion of the podcast. So, all right.
Been one bad week, hasn't it?
Yeah. Except like I had a good day. I had a palate cleanser day today. We went to a museum and had some fun with the kids. So I was like, get off my phone, go touch grass, enjoy the outside world, and just have some fun and laughs and stuff. So that was nice. So I'm in such a good mood today.
I started my day with a talk with Gothics. Her husband Saul popped in. Of course, Mentors was there and Joe was there. We kind of had a continuation of a topic that happened in one of her lives on Wednesday or so. And it was kind of hard to relay my thoughts and get my point across in text. So we were talking about, I think she understands exactly what I was getting at with that. For anybody that wants to know, you can head over to Gothic's channel. She actually made a little video about our interaction with that. So yeah, that's on record there. Kind of wondering what she'll do to respond to our talk if she continues that. But other than that, I've had a headache all day. Tried to take a nap. That didn't happen. Just took some headache medication right before we got here. So maybe it'll die. Maybe it won't. I'll just deal with it tonight.
Hopefully. Dude, I had to take like some Benadryl yesterday because I had some type of allergic reaction. I don't know how people take that. I literally don't. Like I did not, it was not okay. I did not feel okay. Like I was like, oh, it'll make me drowsy, right? Like I don't think I've taken it in years. No, I felt not like I just felt loopy and weird. And I was like, please wear off already. Like I need to like feel normal again. It was not, I don't know. I don't feel like that's a normal reaction, but I was like, not okay.
Yeah, Benadryl to me, it just makes me feel like it feels like my skin just like wants to hover above my body. Yeah, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. Like my skin actually just comes off my muscles and my bones and everything, and it just feels like it starts sliding around easily. I can't take it either.
This sounds like an acid trip. No,
I don't know. Maybe it's not Benadryl. Huh, who knows?
It was weird. I was like, anyway, it was just very strange. I was like, I don't know how people take just Benadryl and like continue on with their day. Like, I'm glad I work from home and stuff and like just got to chill because I was like, oh, it was not great.
That's interesting.
Can I just say, as somebody who is 4 decades post-op, even I do not wish to be around many of the trans folk today. Wow. Well, thank you for joining us and hanging out with us. Yeah, the whole, that's the problem is, and that's what people also don't really acknowledge is like, there's just a big difference between like the gender ideologues and like normal trans people, like normal people who are just happen to be trans, essentially. I have a big differentiation between those two groups of people there.
Okay. So, this one we've kind of broke up a little bit into weird segments as we transition into them. I think you'll understand why we did what we did today. But we will leave you with a Twitter story to have a good laugh after we get into this, because this is really, really disturbing. The first story, of course, this one was memory hold incredibly quickly. On what day was that? April 19th. The NBC News: 3 arrested in Alabama's Sweet 16 shooting that killed 4 and injured 32. Apparently, at the time, they had arrested 2 people, or 3 people, including 2 teenager brothers, were arrested in a shooting that killed 4 and left 32 injured. A weekend Sweet 16 parties, authorities said Wednesday. Not going to read these people's names. I'm not going to even try. This is.
Hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but you're just coming in quiet.
Oh. Let me turn that up a bit. How about that?
Dad, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, continue.
I messed with my mic settings again, so I need to go back and apparently redo everything. But 3 people, including 2 teenage brothers, were arrested in a shooting that killed 4 people and left 32 injured on a Sweet 16 birthday party in Dadeville, Alabama. I'm not going to read these people's names. They're going to be up on screen, but I'm not going to read their names. One was from Auburn and was arrested and charged with 4 counts of reckless murder. The teens, these people of Tuskegee, were arrested on charges of reckless murder Tuesday night. Alabama law enforcement agency Sergeant Jeremy Burkett told reporters earlier they are being charged as adults. Good. The McCullough brothers, I said the name anyway, but those brothers, an FBI spokesperson said, prosecutors and police revealed few details about the arrest, such as what weapons were or your possible motive. The gunfire erupted on 10:34 p.m. Saturday at a dance studio in Broadneck Street in Dadeville, where friends and family were celebrating a 16-year-old girl's birthday. Police identified the 4 people who were killed. Sean Key, I'm gonna murder these names. I know I am. Sean Kivia Smith, Marisha Collins, Corbin Holston, and Philastavius Dowdle. Apparently, this Philastavius Dowdle dude, I think it was him, was an actual football player. He was one of the stars of the team there. Dadeville is about 25 miles northwest of Auburn University. 4 people remained in critical condition in the hospitals Wednesday, officials said. The attorney, Mike Segrest, struggled to maintain his composure, thinking about Alex Dowdle, the birthday girl whose brother was among those killed. There was an uncut cake and unburnt 16 candles that never got lit. Lexi's brother was one of the victims on her 16th birthday party. She knelt by her brother as he took his last breath. That's what we're dealing with. Apparently, as time went on, it is no longer just 3 people involved with this. Now, 6 arrests have been made in this case. This is no longer just a case of just people running up in there and shooting. 6 arrests have been made. Of course, the people we covered before. Let's see. Special agents of Alabama Law Enforcement Agency State Bureau of Investigations made 4th and 5th arrests in connection with Tallapoosa County death investigation in Dadeville. That person of Tuskegee and that person of Auburn have been charged with 4 counts of reckless murder. On April 19th, the 3rd arrest. Let's see, there was one more in that as well. So yeah, okay, that's all 6 of them right there. I don't even know what to think about this, honestly, guys. Like this is just a bad situation altogether. Apparently, there was a Sweet 16 birthday party. We still have yet to hear of a motive or reasoning or anything behind it. But apparently now there's 6 people that were involved in this. I mean, that goes beyond sadistic.
Yeah.
Why would you shoot up kids? You know, it's a big issue that just has no answer to at this point. And this comes off not too long ago. Of course, we know about the Nashville incident. That comes off of that not too long from that. So I don't even know what to say about this one. This one's just horrifying.
Yeah, I think people want, like, when you target kids especially, I think they're just aiming to hurt, just hurt whoever is connected to those kids, hurt whoever loves them, and hurt the community and all of that. I mean, I don't know I don't know how you do something like that anyway. But I think that's kind of the goal, is just to cause as much emotional pain as humanly possible. And how else would you do that other than targeting kids? It's a rough one.
I mean, that is, and right after, not too long after the Nashville thing, Kamala Harris went down to Nashville and started fundraising off the death of 3 kids and 3 adults there. But not a single thing has been said about these kids. And do you guys know why? You got an idea, Ashley?
I mean, I will reserve statements for sorry, I'm not trying to laugh. But no, I mean, why? Tell me, oh great one. Yeah.
It doesn't follow the narrative, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't racism. This isn't the oppression of black people. It doesn't follow the narrative. So this one has been memory hold. It's been touched on by a few places, and then they found out something about these people and said no. The only places that have been covering it now are, again, how did I find out about the 6 suspects now? Local news.
Mm-hmm. Which that I just don't know how you do that as media, because it happens so often. So people only get like this very crafted narrative shoved in their face all of the time, and it's just so disheartening, and it just only adds to like especially racial division. It's like I don't care what race someone is. If they did something horrible, then I want them to be held accountable. But we should be reporting regardless of race, you know?
And we don't mean accountable like the 14 and 17-year-old in Chicago that stole a car, caused a car crash that killed a 6-month-old baby, and was charged with trespassing.
Yeah, I saw that story, and I was I was very enraged by that one. It was like, how are you serious right now? Like, or there's been so many kids.
But y'all voted for
like,
though. I mean,
there's been so many kids and young teenagers who have like, you know, been arrested just multiple times, and it's just release, and they just keep doing worse things than the last crime they committed. Sorry, guys. Like a tickle in my throat.
where is? Hold on.
But yeah,
That is weird.
I'm just over this. What?
Okay, so on the off label, Joseph is in there. I guess maybe it hasn't pulled through yet, but it's not showing up here in StreamYard. He says reckless murder is unforgivable. People got to get more organized. Well, I mean, how do you get organized when you live in fear of this actually happening all the time? I mean, I know it's something that can be done, but people just have an innate fear that they're going to be next. And people just don't want to go through that, you know. But yeah, that's not, I don't know why, but it's not picking up. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was further up. And then he goes on to say this. All right, but yeah, it's a kind of a touchy situation with all this because look, all these kids wanted to do was just celebrate a birthday, have some fun. And for whatever reason, we still have yet to know. We still have yet to know about the Nashville incident. We still have yet to know anything about that. Why? What is the reasoning for this? If we knew the reasoning, maybe we could organize. Maybe we could do something. Maybe we could protect each other from this. But these things are not given out yet. These things are, oh, it's an ongoing investigation. So what? We're supposed to live in fear for this kind of thing just because it may hinder an arrest? How about we help you find these people?
Well, the problem is they do that for so long that everybody just gives up and then forgets about it anyway, and then it just goes into the oblivion essentially. Like that's what's going to happen with the Nashville stuff. And I saw like what Daily Wire did like a Freedom of Information Act for the manifesto and got denied and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, is probably I feel like we can all probably, you know, kind of think what's in it and what her motives were. Obviously, like I probably shouldn't speculate on it, but I don't know. I feel like if they're not going to release it, there's a clear reason why, because it threatens their narrative. So
I'm gonna speculate on it because the news told her there was a trans genocide, and now even we had that video that we were going through, that person we were looking into, you know, they were just like, get some arms. This is a call to arms. And just like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Oh, the crazy guy. Yeah, the psychopath.
I'm not going to bring that one up because that'll definitely get us flagged.
Yeah, that guy is way more depraved and demented than people are realizing after visiting his multiple Twitter accounts. I wish I didn't do that. Wish I hadn't seen it. It was really bad. Anyway, but yeah, that guy's a piece of work.
But I mean, this is you do have to understand. I did want to point this out to you, because number one, I do live in Alabama. Dadeville is roughly around an hour and a half away from me. Um, but the Nashville thing, everybody's talking about Nashville shooting, the school thing that happened there. You guys don't understand with schools here, especially here in the South. We are the shining example of having guns in schools actually stops these things, because the Nashville person had already targeted one school, and they moved off because there were armed officers. Not too long after Uvalde, Bessemer, Alabama, almost had its own Uvalde. Arab, Alabama had a threat that was put down. We have had, what was it? The last time I looked into it, there was like 12 or 13 confirmed school incidences that were stopped before they even happened, because there are armed officers in our schools. So
it's at least it's a.
There was somebody in the chat earlier that said, "Is it really on the rise, or are we just now noticing more?" No, it's on the rise. It is. If you look into the stats and everything behind that, there are more violent offenses that have been used with gun, or that have been involved in guns in the past 2 years than we have seen in the past 20. So yes, it is on the rise. And that's mainly because of the rhetoric that's being used on our mainstream media. They tell you trans genocide, and they show you, well, this person was killed by cops, and this and this and this and this, and it makes you freak out. It makes you do these things. It makes you lose your mind, because they keep shoving it down your throat.
Yeah,
and then you got people like Don Lemon who are just like, well, we got to do this and this. Yeah, that's. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're fine. No, it's all a bunch of fear mongering rhetoric, and it's just getting more and more obvious, and more blatant. Also, I've legitimately seen many actual calls to violence in the past few weeks that I think I ever have. And videos that just stay up and they just get promoted, and not promoted, but circulated a lot more than other types of videos. It's just so what are we doing? Because this is not good. And it's just crazy to me that people have been brainwashed to such a degree to actually think oh, they're going to come after me, so I have to go get them first type of mindset. It's no, bro, nobody's coming after you. Calm down. Stop. It's just
a preemptive strike is still murder. I don't even care what you want to think about that. A preemptive strike is still murder. Even if you think they're going to happen, even if you got solid evidence, it's still murder, because the action hasn't even been attempted to take place yet.
Well, yeah, and nobody's kind of. It's just all a bunch of crazy nonsense, honestly. But what happens? Hi, what's up? It's weird when when people say that they're fans. Obviously, it's just oh yeah, big fan. Follow your content, like your content. But it's just such a surreal thing. But I appreciate you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I think all of this, the media does not help. It makes things a lot worse. And then just constantly seeing all these headlines of anti this bill and anti that bill, when in reality that's not typically the bills in question. A lot of the trans stuff, there's been hundreds of anti-trans bills. It's no, there's been bills that are trying to protect children from medical mutilation, essentially. So let's calm down and actually be honest about what we're talking about. That's the problem, is people just don't go and look into that stuff for themselves. They just hear these talking points and think that somebody's coming after them. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of rhetoric has been going on. I mean, every election cycle, or ramped up to an election cycle, it's always, well, the Black community's under attack. No, there are far less white on black crimes than black on black, or black on white, or Hispanic on white, or Hispanic on black crimes. There are far less of white people doing crimes against black people than anywhere else. So the fact that it is a racial hatred that is just being pushed it's become insane to even think about this. And it actually kind of brought up a little bit about that too. Mentors was just saying we should do away with all social media, and I was like, dude, you can't do that. Number one, if you did that, you wouldn't know we existed. You know. Number two, if you did that, would we even know these things right here exist to break the narrative? So,
well, yeah,
it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
Social media is a double-edged sword because it's up to everybody to moderate their own usage of it, which like we're all addicted to the internet at this point. So it's like I follow you because you point out the crazy that's going on. Yeah, dope. But like, I don't know. I struggle with people who say stuff like, oh, well, we need to ban this social media platform for the sake of kids. It's like, well, why are your kids on social media? Like, you're the parent. You need to be monitoring them and making sure that you know what they're doing and all of that. And it's like, it gets harder when kids get older, but at the same time, it's like, bro, they don't need to be on all of these right. platforms so young. And it's just, I don't know. It's just another element of personal responsibility. You have to be responsible, and you have to know how to moderate yourself and your children.
Definitely. We got Pika Warp over here on Rumble. Sounds gang related. I'm tending to lead that way too.
There's like some kind of initiation type thing.
I don't know if it. I wouldn't. I can't.
I mean, that's like a thing, isn't it?
Myself. Yeah, it is. I can't rule that out myself, but I'm tending to believe it was either gang related or drug related, because that to me would be the only reason, unless you were incredibly psychotic, which a lot of people have become that way now. There is no reason why 6 people would decide to do this, or at least plan it out, and a couple people go out and carry out the act. There is a motive behind it. We just don't know what it is.
Oh, sorry. It's a weird amount of people too. Like, that's a lot of people involved. Like, usually it's like one person, maybe 2. But that's a lot of people involved too. Like, oof.
Yeah. But speaking of problems in states, y'all remember the Don't Say Gay bill? Well, expect that rhetoric to be picked up even harder. Because Florida expands Don't Say Gay House OK's anti-LGBTQ bills. From Tallahassee, Florida Republican Ron DeSantis added more wins to his agenda targeting the LGBTQ+ community, and as a state board approved an expansion of what critics call the Don't Say Gay on Wednesday, in the House passed bills on gender transition treatments, bathroom use, and keeping children out of drag shows. The Board of Education approved a ban on classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in all grades, expanding the law that bans those lessons up to 3 in the request of DeSantis, and as he gears up for an expected presidential run. The real change would ban lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity from grades 4 to 12, unless required by existing state standards or as part of a reproductive health instruction that students can choose not to take. That's a time when students are becoming aware of their sexuality. The proposal will take effect after a procedural notice period that lasts about a month, according to the Education Department spokesperson. DeSantis administration put forward the proposal last month as part of the Republicans' aggressive conservative agenda. I love the framing in that one, with the governor leaning heavily into cultural divides ahead of his looming White House candidacy. It's whatever with that. The rest of it's just trying to attack him again for that. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one.
Okay. So I was thinking about this, right? But I also was thinking about my own high school days, which seem to be very far behind me at this point, but over 10 years ago. But at the same, so like when we were coming up, it's like we didn't have like a lesson on gay people. You just met gay people in your life, and like just came across it not like naturally or organically or whatever. Nobody ever had to sit me down and be like, okay, so so gay people exist. It's like, no, I just learned of that throughout the course of my life. It's not, and I was just like, okay, like moving on now, like don't care. And so it's really interesting to me that anybody actually thinks that kids need to like be taught this in school as part of curriculum. I don't see the need for it. I don't see the need for like gender identity or anything like that. I just, it's like it was never something that was ever talked about in our school. In our reproductive class, it was focused on like actual reproduction and what happens, and like some talk of like, safe practices and stuff like that, but it didn't get very graphic, and it was just it was rolled into a health class basically. So it's just part of our normal health class, and then they talked about like drugs and stuff like that too, but I don't know. So that's where I'm at. It's like I'm honestly at the point where I don't even think sex ed should be in school because they're doing such a horrible job at it. It's like, no, like leave it up to parents. That's where I'm
at. What? We forgot to cut everything, so we're still running on a screw it. Let's just keep it going because this will be good for your channel as well. We'll play it safe until we get off YouTube.
Okay.
But yeah, it's oh, actually, we're going to have to cut it early because there's a little bit of extra I'm going to throw in there before we actually cut YouTube altogether. But yeah, I actually kind of want to disagree a little bit. Hold on. Stacy says, I get that sex education could be improved, but this is the wrong way of going about it. I actually agree. I do, because, I do have friends that are gay. I do have friends that are lesbians. Had they have not known about the attraction to same sex growing up, they would have been confused as to why everybody's all, ooh, I want this person, I want that person. And they feel nothing towards that, but they feel everything towards somebody else. They start thinking, what's wrong with me? That whole, you want to talk about gender confusion, sexual orientation confusion would become a thing then, because people don't know that gay and lesbian exist until you grow up and you find out about it on your own. And because you found out about it on your own, well, there is something wrong with me then.
Dude, I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with that premise. You really think that like okay, growing up, like I have a gay uncle, so it's like that was just part of like normal, like people didn't really talk about it a whole lot, but I mean my family is freaking weird anyway and very dysfunctional. So but like the idea that like nobody encounters anyone, you don't encounter anyone who's gay, or like or like I don't know, I just don't really,
if it's a taboo topic like this, you're not going to talk about it. If you can go to jail for talking about something like this, you won't talk about it.
Okay, so I don't. So let me frame this. What do you think sex ed should be? Like, what should it consist of? Because I personally only think it should consist of like reproductive information, and then like parents should be talking to their kids about sexual relations.
Well,
so,
I
think it's inappropriate for teachers to do it.
I do agree. This should be left up to the parents to go into detail with it, but there should be a broad generalization. Like my sex ed growing up in school was, this is the male anatomy, this is the female anatomy. They go together like this. Don't do that, and you're going to wind up pregnant or get AIDS. That's not the best way to do it, because you're just scaring people, and then those people just, well, this is taboo. This is not something I'm supposed to do. Let's do it anyway, because humankind, if you tell them no, they're going to do it. That's the thing. You just got to be open and honest about it. Look, this is the way reproduction is. However, there are people that don't fall in those lines, and it's fine. Nobody really does care. Well, there are people that care, but they're the crazies that should be, I'm not going to say shunned from society, but it should at least be, the fringe should at least be kind of mocked,
But so should teachers be having those conversations? Essential stranger to your child?
I want to say yes and say no at the same time, because are parents going to have those conversations with kids? My parents never had that conversation with me.
Yeah, but that's
because
their
it was
failing.
exactly, it was they felt embarrassed talking about this thing, but it is your
Mhm.
responsibility as a parent to do it. The way I found out about it was, of course, through sexual education through school and porn.
Do
So
you
there's
think
that.
say something else? Say like the adult industry or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you're right.
That
Yeah, I
it's a
apologize.
it's a
Adult
it's a
movies.
it's a naughty word. Here on the self censorship of YouTube. Anyway,
You can go ahead and
um,
cut that little section out later.
I don't go back through these. I just let them sit. But no, like so. Here's my thing. I think a lot of parents have gotten extremely lazy when it comes to what they are actually teaching their kids and the conversations that they're having because they are relying on the education system, the public education system, to do that job for them. And I think that if I really do think, especially with like the way millennials are, and we're just a much more open generation in general. I think that we as parents would be much more willing to have these conversations. And like myself, I want to be the one having these conversations with my kids. I don't want any other weird person. I don't want any teachers. I want like, myself and my husband to have these really, really important dialogues and discussions with our children when we think it's appropriate or when something, is brought up, something happens organically, we need to talk about it. I think that's really, really important for parents to be doing that. But again,
Right.
because of the way the public education system is and that it's all kind of, parents just get lazy and they're just like, oh, I don't have to teach that because school will teach them. Like, I mean, even the like just basic fundamental type things of like, dialing it way back to like your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3. Like, how many kids don't learn that because parents are like, oh, they'll learn in kindergarten. It's like, what are you talking? Like my 3-year-olds have known the ABCs for like a year now. It's like
Hmm.
it actually just frustrates me because it just makes parents really lazy and they're not doing their jobs. So that's where I'm at. Also, the whole reason that we have sexual education within public schools is because of Alfred Kinsey, and I've been working on this deep dive for a really long time about Kinsey, and I'm going to do it. I've just been like, I don't know, over analyzing myself with it. So, but I'm gonna do it and kind of explain to you guys why that's a big problem. But yeah,
And that's when you're gonna have to tiptoe around as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm good with my words. I'm good.
But yeah,
TikTok trained me well because they're
I mean,
very sensitive over there. So I've learned how to tiptoe fairly well.
but I mean, this is an elective kind of situation. You can have your kids. They do allow the parents to opt out if they want to, which is a good thing. Even growing up in it, with my education as far as that goes, we were allowed to opt in or opt out. The parent did have to choose. So I
Mhm.
mean, I'll give them that. That is a great thing. But to just say straight out like, no, we can't talk about this. Look, I understand that it's supposed to stop and indoctrination towards these children because, like you said, these strangers have access to kids. But what about the good people that could actually do some good with these kids? And the parents just don't want to do their job. You're stopping the good people from acting and the good people from teaching these kids, look, this is the way it really is. This is what it's really is. There are outliers in this whole situation. You just got to take it as it goes. That kind of situation.
I
You're
just
putting that at risk as well.
I don't trust teachers anymore. I
I
really don't.
don't either,
I don't.
but I do know there
And
are some that are out there that are really good teachers.
they're good teachers, and I don't discredit them or discount them. But the problem is that now things have just gotten so overboard that like hard lines just have to be taken, and that's just where I'm at. Like, I don't know. Again, just me being a good parent, wanting to be very involved in my kids' lives, me being like trying not to be a helicopter parent. It's just something that it's like, no, like do not talk to my children about these things. Like I will do it. That is my job. That's my job as a parent. And I think that's probably just where like I'm just really biased in that sense. Is just because I take such a priority with my level of responsibility, and a lot of parents just don't do that. So I am very biased on this issue. But yeah, it's just, that's the thing is like, because I wouldn't like skirt around the fact that people are gay or anything like that. Like I don't have a problem with gay people. Live your life, man. No. And I think that's where people get confused. They're like, oh, you just don't want your kids to know gay people exist. It's like, no, I don't think that they need to be bashed over the head with it when they enter the kindergarten door. Like, I don't think it's something that is, appropriate in that sense.
I do think that sexual education should begin a little bit before puberty to let them know, look, your body's going to go through some changes. It's going to feel weird. You're going to be screwed in the head for a little bit. And this is why it's okay, And everybody goes through that. Let's just be honest with each other. We all felt weird through puberty. Every single one of us is just like, what's happening?
Yeah. And that's a big problem right now, is that they're acting like any kid who's uncomfortable during puberty, now all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, you're uncomfortable in your body. Oh, you must be trans. You must have a different gender identity because you're uncomfortable. It's like, no, it's not a normal part of human development. Anyway, Andrew Rowland, $9.99 super chat. Just because there are good teachers doesn't absolve the parents' responsibility to teach the important stuff. A teacher should only teach reading, writing, and math. I'm assuming you meant to say, and nothing else. Thank you so much for that super chat. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's merit with like, there's probably curriculums that involve like, family, and all families are different and stuff like that. And I think that's fine. I do think like, that's the thing, is that encompasses a lot more than like just LGBTQ mafia. It also encompasses like just broken families in general. You got a mom and a dad, and they're divorced and remarried. And so you got step parents, and like, so I think some of those courses kind of just talk about stuff like that, family dynamics, breakdowns, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with like the overtly like sexual stuff and like the hardcore gender identity specifically, because I just don't think it's a topic that needs to be discussed within school. And I think a lot of teachers waste a lot of time and resources on this, and there's just been so many who are trying to do it secretly. That's a big problem.
Yes. And, for the most part, I will agree as well. And that's why, I said I'm okay with it being an elective. If you don't want your child to know or to be taught these things from strangers, okay, cool. But if you don't want to have these kinds of conversations with your kids, either they're going to say, you take that away from them, you take that elective away from them, and you don't have these conversations, either your kids are going to grow up not knowing a thing, and little boys are just going to stick there in anything. Then you're going to have a very young minor pregnant. You're going to have kids having kids in that situation because they don't know any better. So there has to be some kind of give and take somewhere. If you don't want the responsibility as a parent to do that, somebody else has to do that. Now, is that somebody else a blue-haired nut schizo that's got LGBTQ flags everywhere? No, that should never be a thing. You should never be around children because you're only going to push that ideology. If it was somebody who is reasonable and can say, look, there is a difference. There are different outlyings, and you will find people that are same-sex attracted. You will find people that are attracted to everything. If you had somebody that was, and it would be hard to find a person that would just fake these kinds of psychological profiles just to get into these positions. I understand. It happens a lot, especially with schizophrenics and psychotics. They have the ability to skirt around these kinds of profiling situations, but it still needs to happen, or kids on their own are just going to be having kids at an alarming rate. So
right, and that's why parents need to step up. So that's just where I'm at. Is I'm sick and tired of people relying on the state to raise their children for them. If you want that to be the reality, then why did you have children in the first place if you don't want to actually parent them? And I'm more keen on kind of just like doing taking on that battle of being like, step up. These are your children. You need to have these conversations. It is not 1950 anymore. You need to be open. You need to be honest. You need to talk about it either when it arises or as like a preliminary thing or whatever. But the thing is too, is like I had people in my life who like kind of, I don't know, had the weird version of like the talk with me. Like my older brother, kind of was like, hey, like just try to have some self-respect essentially. And he kind of said some stuff like that to me, but like, so it's, I don't know. I guess it's just, to me, it's like, yeah. I mean, there's parents, there's older siblings, there's, I'm sure cousins and stuff like that, like aunts, uncles. Like that's the thing, is people have just become so divided.
By the way,
I'm the guy you talked to on Twitter about piercings, by the way. I have no idea, my friend. I have a lot of conversations on the Twitter. So, but cool. I'm glad we talked about piercings. I like piercings. So, a lot of people are not a fan. That's okay. But anyway, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm just sick of living in a society where everyone's like, oh, it's not my job. Somebody else's job. Like, no, it's your freaking job. It's your kids. Take care of them. That's where I'm at. Andrew Rowland, $4.99. Thank you so much. My dad gave me the talk about sex as a freshman, and then my private school talked about how babies are made when we are seniors. That's like really late. Interesting. Because like at my school, you sat through like a STI video 2 years in a row. It started in like 6th grade. So we were like, what, 12? Maybe even 5th grade. What? Yeah, you had to like look at all the stupid pictures. I don't think I went either day. I think I skipped school those days. But yeah, I think it was either 5th and 6th grade or 6th and 7th grade. Anyway, and then once you got into high school, you had health class freshman year, and like that taught you about like, it was more in depth, taught you about reproduction. You had to take the babies home and take care of them for 3 days, and they cried all of the time. And then we had like this crack baby. That was literally what it was called. That you like, if you couldn't take a baby home, you had to take care of the crack baby in class, and it was 10 times harder because it was like a drug addicted simulated baby. So and that thing was, oh my god, it cried all the time. But anyway, so yeah, that's what we had to do.
So you were the one taking care of the crack baby?
No, I took a baby home. I had it for like 2 or 3 days, and our babies were like janky compared to like the babies that some schools do now. Like some schools, like you actually have to like feed the baby. What we had to do was, it was like a key hole in its back, and you had like a little key. So when it cried, you had to just turn the key and keep it until it stopped crying. Yeah, that's what you had to do. So it was just like basically mimicking like the motion of like your kid is crying, you have to pick them up and like deal with them for a certain amount of time, but it didn't actually you didn't have to like actually change the diaper. You didn't have to actually like do that kind of stuff. You just had to hold the key until it stopped crying.
What is that going to teach you about taking care of a baby?
I don't know. It just was an annoyance, really. I thought it was stupid. And then like a couple years later, they had much more like better, much more better. They had better babies come out, and I think my school had like bought a few. And those ones you actually did have to like hold the bottle in their mouth and change their diaper, and they had sensors. And and I think like the babies that we had, it did have like some type of sensor, like it could tell if you weren't like, if you just like left your baby laying somewhere for too long, it could like tell, and it monitored that, and it would like spit out like a bunch of data at the end. They would download it and be like, you're a horrible parent.
You know what mine was while I was in junior high? And it's the weirdest thing. It was actually pretty cool now that I think about it, but I thought it was incredibly weird. We had to take care of eggs. Now,
some people had to do that. Yeah.
Our sex ed teacher owned a farm. So these aren't like store-bought eggs, of course. So he used the eggs his own chickens came across. Well, 3 of them hatched because apparently the people took really good care of them. All you had to do was just make sure the egg didn't break. You know, there was
some of them were
you
like put like a light on them and like having a little nice nest,
Yeah.
like all warm and cozy.
Yeah, apparently that's what they did, and 3 of them actually hatched chicks. And I was like, "That's okay.
You're like,
That
they
does bring
actually
it
had
home a little
babies.
further, but
No, you
why did you go that far for an egg?" You know?
Congratulations. That's so funny. That's cool though.
My
Yeah,
wife
no,
is over
that's
here on
actually
Rumble.
cool.
She said we had a bag of flour. There was a half Mexican, and he used a bag of masa.
That's old school, bro. That's like super old school. You know what's funny is like, I don't know, just the whole thing, like it frustrates me to no end that parents are just so hands off in this regard. It's like these are like one of the most important things like about your kids growing up. Like you don't want them like when parents refuse to talk about their kids to this, Stacy, I can't remember. Kids actually took care of eggs. And that was just a South Park episode. No, that was like a real thing that happened in like a lot of schools. You more so in like I feel like Gen X days, but once the millennials came around, they were like, "Here, have these baby dolls." But I don't know.
Templar
I just think
left a message on Rumble saying, "Hey, Rumble fam, what's up, Templar?" He's
up?
here every time, just commenting. I guess he's on mobile because you don't have the chat on mobile.
Yeah, thanks for joining us over there. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. Our Rumbles are popping. They're doing pretty well, and I'm pretty excited about it. But
the only time our Rumble has not gone past YouTube, excluding your YouTube, of course, the only time our Rumbles have not gone past YouTube was when we had that talk last week with Rob. That YouTube one actually did better than
I was gonna say that YouTube one did really well. And I've like told a few people about that episode too because it was such a good episode. Like that, it was great listening to him. But yeah.
Oh yeah, he went in real depth and detail about all this, and yeah, he's a great guy. He literally. We are coming to the closing arguments of the Proud Boys case, and that case, you guys just need to go check him out because 60 days of the case now, and what they have found just going through that is alarming. Really is. But yeah. Rumble's been doing us some good. Rumble's been really good to us here. We have like 17 people watching now. At the top of it, I saw like 24. That was at the beginning. But it will grow over time as far as that goes. Usually we hit anywhere between 500 to 1,000 views on Rumble for every episode we do. And we just have the lives there. You know, I don't cut them down into little segments like I do for YouTube, which I should. But apparently, like, lives do better than videos do over there on Rumble, unless you're like a big name creator.
We can just link we can link that YouTube to Rumble, and it'll just auto populate over there. That's what I have with my YouTubes.
I do that with my YouTube as well, but the problem is like when we stream to Rumble and then it populates the YouTube one to Rumble, now you got two of the same thing. So I'd have to go in there and delete the one from YouTube when it populates over. But I mean, we can go with the videos, and I mean that's just an extra step. I can take care of that. That's not a problem.
We'll figure it out, man.
But yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, overall, I think parents, please like just be involved in your children's life. Don't have kids and let the state raise them, unless you just want them to be completely indoctrinated into whatever the state tells them. But I think that's just where we're at. Just another level of personal responsibility as parents. So hopefully, good night, everyone. Peace out, Ashley. Peace out, Warren. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and thank you guys all for joining us over here too. Whatever channel you are watching us on, make sure to hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it does help us out in the algorithms. But you know who else might?
Before we actually do that one, I do want to address this. Cerberus actually does have a great point here. I mean, I grew up in a small town. You also have to consider the difference in raising kids in a small community where everyone knows each other and a big city. Federal laws are often off base. He has a point. You know, I grew up in a small town where literally everybody knew what you had for breakfast before you left the house. It was that small of a town, and we all knew each other. We all knew these things. If one person were to do something, the entire county knew about you before anything were to happen. Yes, these federal laws and things like that, they can't be taken really into account as far as that goes because, well, it doesn't quite fit the bill. And if you were to actually do that, it would cause a lot more harm than good in a lot of these small communities. So yes, Cerberus does have a good point with that one. But
yeah, I mean, I grew up in a small town, but I don't know. It's not a great track record so far. And just honestly, after the introduction of sexual education within schools, things like teenage pregnancy increased. The STI rates amongst like teenagers increased dramatically. Like all of those things have just only ever increased after that was introduced into schools.
But then again, that was the problem with it. Because like I said, when I was growing up, mine was, this is male, this is female. They go together like this. You'll get AIDS if you do it. Well, now you put a challenge on me. You told me I can't do it. I'm pressing that red button if you tell me not to press the red button. You know, that's their introduction to it. Of course.
Well, that wasn't my
table and taboos, so they're going to do it, you know.
I mean, that's not everyone's experience. Like at my school, it was literally just, these are all of the different STIs. You need to know about them. Here's all their symptoms. Here's what happens. Here's how you get them. Like it was just literally information. It wasn't anybody's. What's the movie where that it's like the gym teacher's like yelling at the kids and he's like, if you do this, you're gonna get AIDS. And like, I can't remember what movie that is.
Yeah,
it's like a teen. Yeah. Is it in Mean Girls? Is it? No, I don't know.
No, that's not that one.
It's really funny though. It's a funny scene. But anyway, like my experience was not like that. And I grew up in a really small town. Like, all right. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Could I ask for a list of things I need to become an amazing YouTuber like you guys? I'm not an amazing YouTuber. Like I'm not even, I don't know. I'm never know what I'm doing, but
look, my channel is shadow banned. She just picked up and ran. Okay, we're not the ones you need to be asking because we're figuring this out as we go.
Yeah, go. There's actually a lot of really great YouTubers who talk about how to be a YouTuber essentially. So go check a few of their channels out. You really just need a mic, a camera, lights, like good lighting, and like not a crazy chaotic background. Like I'm pushing my luck over here. Okay, I need to redo mine, but because I don't know, that kind of stuff. Cool backgrounds are cool and everything, but there's some people like, I don't know, it's just distracting sometimes if you have like if you're just like in your living room or something and it's not like kind of set up a little bit nicely. Anyway, that's just as me as a viewer, but no, like that's really all you need, man. And like editing software probably.
I use a green screen because, you know, I used to stream gameplay, and having a background in gameplay kind of cuts off the screen. Just you sitting there with, you know, in a green screen situation is a lot better. But yeah, I just don't want to get rid of the green screen because even if I had this mansion, I still wouldn't want anybody to know what's behind me if I'm supposed to be the one entertaining. That's why I do that. That plus the fact my house is like half finished because we had to stop in the middle of remodeling for price reasons. Thank you, Biden. But anyway. All right. So
speaking of Biden and the presidency, Larry Elder announced his run for the presidency. I found that very interesting. I was like, oh, this is getting good. Like I was going toe to toe with Trump here. I'm so excited for the debates. I'm so excited. He's gonna just demolish. So Republican radio host Larry Elder launches 2024 White House bid. Conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder announced Thursday that he is jumping into the 2024 Republican presidential primary race, joining a growing field of candidates vying for the party's nomination. I am announcing I am running for the presidency of the United States, Elder told Fox News host Tucker Carlson. I feel I have a moral, a religious, and a patriotic duty to give back to a country that's been so good to my family and to me, and that's why I'm doing it, he said. The 70-year-old political commentator told Carlson that his campaign will focus on issues related to border security, crime, and the maligning of the police. Elder also noted that he intends to rebuke the disgraceful lie that the United States is systemically racist and bring attention to the lack of fathers in the home. Very important. America is in decline, but this decline is not inevitable. We can enter a new American golden age, but we must choose a leader who can bring us there. That's why I'm running for president. Dude, Larry Elder for president. Like I'm so down. I'm so behind him. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Because I don't know if you
though. Like he says the country's not systemically racist. I don't believe it is. It does have a problem with the racist rhetoric that the colloquial left tries to push. But this is the man that a white woman wore a gorilla mask and threw eggs at. Like if that's not racism, I don't know what to tell you. Like if you can't call that racist, then nothing's racist.
I don't know if you guys watch Dave Rubin. I'm assuming there's some crossover between people who at least know about him in my sphere of the internet. But that was Larry Elder is the reason that Dave Rubin started like questioning his leftism essentially. And in a live conversation, Larry Elder just kind of like demolished him. And it was like a point of embarrassment for him, but he still released it. And then after that, he started just questioning a lot of other things. And it just kind of led him down the political path to leaving the left. And I just found it really interesting when I kind of like discovered all of that and watched that interview. It's a really great interview. You should go check it out if you haven't. But yeah, I've listened to a lot of Larry Elder. I really, really like him. I think he's a good pick. I think he's a very strong leader. And he ran against, well, like for that, like when Newsom, he was running against Newsom when like that whole thing went down in California for like the governor's bid. What was it? Like the recall vote or whatever. I can't remember the specifics right off the top of my head. I'd have to like look at the story, but yeah. And he did lose, but I don't know. I think he'd be a really good pick.
I don't know. I've heard a fair bit from Larry Elder, and the way they treated him when he was running, that kind of that really got to me. Like the way you demonized a man who's literally, there was nothing controversial about anything that he said. You called him the blackface of white supremacy.
Oh yeah. Well, and there was like an interview he did like a while back, where I'm pretty sure it was him, where some lady's talking to him and she like calls him a white guy, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "Your people did not breed."
You're talking to a black guy, right?
Yeah, like he's like, "My white privilege." He's like, "I'm black," and it was like the funniest moment of her like just internally like panicking of like, "Oh no," and like he's like, "Why did you like?" And I was like, "There's no way she can weed through this without shooting herself in the foot on that one."
No,
but yeah,
no, there's no way you can weed through that because you just made a huge mistake on that part. Like
the biggest of errors.
You didn't even know who you were talking to. Like when yes, it was a radio thing, right?
Yeah, it's a radio show.
They should still at least know who they're talking to and like look into these people and things like that. Google does exist for this reason, but that woman didn't even go that far to know he was black. Seriously, you just screwed all that.
Yeah. Biden has very, very racist rhetoric past.
The way he said that though, like that was beyond. That was literally that was so horrible. If you don't, what was it? If you don't know who you're voting for between me and Trump, then you ain't black. Like he threw that word out there.
It's just so demeaning. It's so fucking demeaning to people. Like, no, like maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they don't like your policies. Their skin color literally doesn't matter, you psychopath. Like I really hate it.
Maybe they don't like the fact that you learned about kids and roaches by kids feeling on your leg hair.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Or the you know what's so funny? Like people have brought up the corn pop story, which like, and somebody said like, what if it's like just flipped? Like, what if Corn Pop was the good guy in the situation? And he was like, "Stop going after little children, you weirdo." And then it like turned into this big whole thing about Corn Pop, and which, by the way, I don't know if you guys watch Bearing, but he has a video, and it's like a compilation video. I need to find it and share it to Twitter so you guys can watch it. But he he narrates the corn pop story, and it is the funniest thing. I listen to it when I'm sad because it's so funny. I just love it. Corn pop 2024. Yeah, let's go with that.
Honestly, now that I know about Biden, especially with the diary issue, I'm kind of leaning to the fact that Corn Pop was a bad dude, but he was bad in a good way.
Yeah,
I am thinking Corn Pop was the good guy in this situation.
He's not going to take any of your ish, okay, Joe Biden? He sees you. Corn Pop sees you, and he's coming for you, all right? With this,
he had this little flip open razor blade. Yeah, I would too. You're messing with kids.
I have to go find that. I think I bookmarked it. I'm gonna share it to Twitter. So if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, FreelyAshley92, please go follow me because I'm gonna share it after the show. It's so funny. Yes. Don't forget when he was a senator and said, "I don't want my kids to go." Yeah. That was he sets all kinds of really messed up stuff in regards to Black people, and it's just like, bro, like. It irritates me that people are just too stupid to like or too lazy, I should probably say, not necessarily stupid, too lazy to go actually look into Joe Biden's past and kind of go over all the crazy rhetoric he said. And he used to be super against gay marriage too, but everyone's just magically forgotten about that. So
oh yeah that plus the fact he was the one that wrote the 1994 crime bill. Now of course, with the way that worked out, that actually targeted Black Americans more than it did anybody else. It wasn't because of the way the bill was written; it was the way that it was enacted. But yeah, that was his fault because he allowed those loopholes and those open-ended. Okay, my wife there. Open-ended. Yeah, the open-ended interpretation of it to actually exist. Can you hear her?
Yeah, very well. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't exactly make out what she's saying, but it's loud. It's distracting.
Okay. Maybe like I said, I edited my mic things and threw it all off. The ability to I guess noise cancellation, I guess, would be the thing for that. Yeah. It's always the hero.
He was. Okay.
It's a thing, and I don't know much about Larry Elder to have a yes or no thing on that. I guess I'm gonna have to pay attention to him a little bit more. I honestly didn't think he would be the one to throw his hat in the race either. After what he went through, I expected him to just be like, all right, I'm gonna chill out for a minute.
No, I think that kind of crap doesn't scare him or intimidate him or anything like that. I think he's just much more focused on actually trying to improve the country and the current environment. And I think I don't know. I think he's one to rally around. Honestly, I don't want Trump to get the nomination. I really don't. I'm so over him at this point. And all he does is talk crap. I'm not talking about all women, just Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, that was the fat pig comment.
But yeah, like I just over Trump. I've been neutral on him for a long time, but he's just made so many bad moves, and he constantly is like, he's just so adversarial towards anyone who he thinks is like competition, and it just doesn't give good vibes for me.
I am too. I did say that, when everybody was saying, well, it's going to be Trump and DeSantis, I was like, okay, DeSantis has my vote. But I will say this, now that New York is picking up their case, and of course we went through that with Rob there, I'm starting to swing back towards him because DeSantis just said, leave me out of it. He didn't want to even try to step up. Now, if he would have, it would have solidified my vote. If he would have just said, you're not coming in here. If he wants to go himself, that's on him. But you're not coming in here and taking this political witch hunt on this man and me allow it. If he were to say something like that, I'd have been behind him 100%. But the fact that he's just like, hey, I want nothing to do with this, leave me out. Are you going to be tough enough and have the testicular fortitude to stand up to our government to say enough?
I mean, I kind of see it as like that might have been more personal because Trump was already slamming him Trump had already been slamming him, and it's like,
which was a bad move. Yes.
and it's like that's probably why he's like, I don't want anything to do with it. I just want to do my thing. I just want to run my state and do all that. Which has DeSantis even like formally announced that he's running? I don't think he has. Has he?
Not yet.
So so he might not even be an issue.
If he were even okay, Trump was, talking some mad things about this man. But if he were to just be like, to step up and be like, no, you're not taking him, even with that in mind, it made him look better. It'd have been like, yeah, so what? This guy's slamming me. You are literally trying to persecute a man on political reasons just to make sure he doesn't run for office. This isn't right. I don't care that he wants to talk crap about me. You're not doing that. It would have made him look a lot better.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I just don't care. I just don't care. Because like people freaked out. People like were all mad when DeSantis didn't say something right away about the whole indictment thing when that was going down. And then he made an announcement. It was like the weekend, and he made like a statement on Monday about it and how he thought it was wrong and yada yada. So it's just like I just get kind of sick of this whole like, well, he should have done this and he should have done that, and people like kind of go after somebody because they don't react right away or they don't, and like maybe he was on his weekend and also wanted to kind of survey what was actually happening and needed to know more about the situation before he made a huge public statement. Guys, maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to back Larry Elder. That's who I'm going with at this point in time, unless DeSantis, announces he's running, and unless somebody completely flops in the debates and stuff. But I think Larry Elder is going to go hard in debates. I'm just really excited to watch it.
Well, let's do a 180 on political persecution real quick and say WTF here.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's charges have been dropped. Now, this was a man who shot Elena Hutchins on the set, and then he was like, the gun just went off, even though he pulled the trigger. He did kill Elena Hutchins and but injured another dude. But they went after the charges and everything for this reason. And yet all of a sudden, because he's a celebrity and he's got money, of course, rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, you know what's also interesting is the armorer. I have a hard time pronouncing that word sometimes. Her charges are still going. So his charges completely dropped. Hers are still being pursued, and I think they're doing the court case in like August. But yeah, Baldwin faced involuntary manslaughter charges in October 2021. He held the gun that shot and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and wounded director Joel Souza. In January, the Santa Fe district attorney filed involuntary manslaughter charges against Baldwin. The charges included a felony firearm enhancement that carried a possible 5 years in prison if convicted. However, the district attorney dropped the enhancement charge a month later. Now, 2 months later, Baldwin's attorneys indicate he no longer faces any charges in the case. So he's the one who pulled the trigger. He's the one who actually committed this I don't know, crime. Involuntary manslaughter is just such a weird one too. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those weird ones. But we are pleased with the decision to dismiss the case against Alec Baldwin, and we encourage a proper investigation into the facts and circumstances of this tragic case. Like it happened in 2021. Like you've been investigating for 2 years. What are you talking about? Rust armorer. Hannah Gutierrez Reed still faces involuntary manslaughter charges. Last month, the judge accepted. Yeah, so that's what's up. And he just walks free. And he just goes, and she'll probably get, convicted and found guilty, and she'll have to deal with all of this. But good old Alec, he just continues being a crappy human being. And facing no retribution for that, repercussions, I should say. So.
I do want to kind of give a little bit of a recap with this, because this is a really weird situation. Once this happened, I really went into this one hard, because this case is kind of weird as far as that goes. Like there were reports of him being a horrible person and everybody just being fed up with him just demanding and just being POS to the people that worked for him and things like that. So why was there live rounds on this set though? Okay. Were they actually doing like target practice and things while the cameras weren't rolling? Okay. That could be the case. But I do understand how the Hannah Gutierrez Reed person is involved in this too, because she was the armorer. She was the one that was supposed to make sure that blanks and live rounds don't mix together. For this
Yeah.
specific reason, I do understand her involvement in this. There were bullets found, live bullets that were found on his in the gun, in the box of ammo on his belt, and I think there was one other place. It kind of does point to a little bit of a setup situation, like you're leaving these live rounds everywhere for just somebody to grab. Like you're trying to set up an accident kind of situation. I do understand and I do get behind that whole line of thinking as well. But even if you're using blanks, you do not point the weapon directly at somebody.
Yeah.
So
I don't
the
know.
fact that he pointed it at the woman and pulled the trigger is intent. Especially after they had an argument, right then and there, and then he does that. Yes, that is intent. You can. There is a reason why this man should be going to jail.
I mean, I wouldn't call it intent, like just because it was part of the scene, right? So I wouldn't say that holding a firearm that is part of a scene and acting like I don't like that doesn't indicate intent to me. You should at least be charged with involuntary manslaughter, because it's like the type of situation, like I don't know. I don't want to really compare it to anything else because I think it's pretty unique, but I think both of them should be held accountable, I guess.
Very few scenes in movies and in TV shows and everything do you actually look down the barrel, because of that reason. If you're looking down the barrel in that they either CGI the trigger pull, or you don't see the aftermath, it just cuts to a black screen because of that reason. Even if you're using blanks, you don't point it directly at somebody because the gunpowder still comes out. It can still cause harm.
Yeah.
The fact that, okay, that was a scene. Okay, if he wasn't supposed to pull the trigger in that scene, then why did he? Number one. Number two, if it was supposed to be a blank, why are you pointing it directly at somebody? That's a known thing. That's never a thing. Even an unloaded weapon, something is not loaded, should never be pointed at somebody.
Not part of scene 2 at camera according to the script. Okay. It's been a while since I've looked over all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think overall it just yet again shows that, like, if you're a celebrity, you're probably gonna walk. There's very few celebrities who actually get convicted and do time for things that they actually did. You know what I mean? So money talks.
I do want to address this one right here. I will admit the title was a little bit clickbaity. I do agree with you. It's not the guns that kill people. It's people that kill people.
Yep. Sometimes you have to interest people, okay? And they gotta click on the thing, and you gotta have because that's actually a fault of mine. I don't want to do clickbait titles on my own videos, but then I'm like, man, that's the videos I click on. Are the clickbait titles because they get me.
If you had Colin Noir, who's a known gun advocate, say we should ban guns in a title of a video, yes, I'm clicking on it. What do you mean? What are you talking about? There's no reason you should be saying these things. And then he's just no, look, I don't believe that. I just wanted you to listen. Okay, yeah, you got my attention.
Yeah. It's a necessary evil sometimes, guys. But
it is.
Because you gotta entice people. Click on your video, watch your stuff. Anyway, but yeah.
But as far as that goes, I mean, this isn't the first time that we've seen, a celebrity or a big political figure or something. I mean, Dick Cheney shot a man in the face and got away scot-free. I will never stop bringing that up.
This is the second week in a row you've randomly.
I have to say it. It is a funny story. I didn't want to get into it a little bit there because we were talking with Rob, but the whole thing was they were on a hunting trip. Okay. Now you're going to sit there and tell me that this dude has a loaded shotgun and he shoots a dude in the face who's wearing an orange vest, standing straight up on 2 legs, you know he is there, and you're gonna say, "I thought he was a deer." What?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny, haha. It's funny, weird. But yeah, like it just seems like he was like, darn, it didn't work. Like, I don't know. But yeah.
It did work
No.
because he got away with it. It didn't work because he didn't do what he wanted to do.
He left a witness.
He left the witness, the victim. But yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to bring it up with those kinds of situations because it's one of those things where, you know, everybody that was at least paying attention back then heard this story. Everybody knows this, but it's just like everybody's like, it is what it is. Like, really? Our vice president shot a dude, and it is what it is. You know, no.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, like it's just wild to me that celebrities or people with status and money are just not held to the same standard as the plebs, you know.
Well, it depends on that celebrity too, because I mean,
yeah,
Gina Carano and Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, even airsoft guns, those things hurt quite a bit, bro. I used to play airsoft and paintball and stuff with a couple of cousins of mine. Almost all my cousins are boys, so we used to do that stuff. And man, I've been shot at like point blank with an airsoft. Like, got like a huge welt. Paintball, same thing. Back in the day, my brother was playing paintball, and some complete mean person. I was going to swear, but I'm trying really hard not to. So, but they froze their paintballs, and then they shot people with those, and like that can kill someone. Like, that can legit kill someone if you hit somebody in the freaking temple or something like that. That won't break
skin. That will actually do damage. Mm-hmm. I've been hit with them. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you just took all the fun out of paintball. What are you doing? But anyway, yeah.
I mean, me and a friend of mine, we went to a little arena that his aunt was setting up. They had bought this like old movie theater, and they were setting it up for like an event center kind of thing. And they had indoor paintball. Well, we decided to act like tough guys in that whole situation. And he had bought his professional one, and I had one of those little rental guns. Well, we went out there in nothing but jeans and a face shield.
Oh, geez. Oh,
we had so many welts on each other. Mine were worse because he turned the power all the way up, and I'm literally hearing the right beside me, and I know he's doing that, and I'm like, I can't do anything with mine because they're set at the lowest setting anyway. I can't change this. This is horrible. Yeah, there were some that broke skin, and they weren't even frozen. So yes, those things they do hurt.
Yeah, they do some damage, man.
We did that to kind of be like, well, I'm manly, you know, but it was dumb. I'll admit that it hurt.
You know, speaking of triggers, a whole lot of people got triggered over on Twitter.
All right. And I'm here for it, even though I don't have an account anymore. I'm here for it, for watching the backgrounds.
The meltdowns have been really funny, actually. Twitter removed the verified blue check marks, and some people, they're not taking it well. That's for sure. Twitter began removing thousands of legacy blue check marks Thursday, and it didn't go over well with many Twitter users. And for those of you who perhaps don't use Twitter, the legacy blue check marks are like the accounts of note, like celebrities, organizations, people with big followings on the interwebs, you know, like internet personalities and stuff like that, who were verified under the old verification system on Twitter. But many local cities,
like $10,000-$15,000 for it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, some people did. Like, it was found out in the Twitter files that some people paid an exorbitant amount of money for their blue check, which is ridiculous. But I'm sure a lot of those people also paid for followers. So it looks like they're much more important than what they actually are. I think a lot of people do that, actually. I've noticed like these huge accounts with like I get better engagement with my 7,000 followers than somebody with like 200,000 followers. I'm like, I don't think those are real people.
Well, especially on TikTok. I mean, if you have an account and you don't put anything, you don't comment anything, people will still follow you. How does that happen?
It's so weird. It's a lot of bots, but I think it's also sometimes like TikTok is a weird one because sometimes if you see somebody in your comment sections a lot and you're having back and forth with them and you like them and stuff, like some people just follow them back. I won't follow anyone back that doesn't make content because I don't trust any of you. But but yeah, anyway, many local, city, and government agencies have lost their blue check mark, including Mayor Brandon Scott, Governor Wes Moore, and many state lawmakers. Even the Pope. The Pope lost his blue check, guys. I'm sure he's very devastated about that.
Oh my God, the blue check's gone. How do I know it's the Pope? Maybe look at the follower counts.
I know people are acting as if that blue check just like determines everything. It's like, well, you could probably look and figure it out with a little bit of critical thinking and reasoning abilities. Who has those these days?
That's a superpower, Ashley.
Apparently. In order to keep the blue check mark, you have to just subscribe to Twitter Blue. Subscribers can choose to pay $84 per year or $8 per month, unless you're trying to subscribe on the mobile, which is like $11 or something stupid. Not to be confused with it really is because they charge you more because you're using the App Store or something weird like that. Not to be confused with Twitter Blue. Certain users have the option of a gold or a gray check mark. Gold indicates the account is official business account, which those official business accounts, apparently to have those check marks have to pay $1,000 per month because it's like an organization and like you I think it has like a certain amount of accounts that you can manage under that or whatever. That was just crazy to me. I was like, that's a lot of money per month. Like I work with a lot of like organizations for what I do for work and like, well,
if you're advertising on the platform to make money for your business, I understand the increase. I mean,
but you have to pay for the media. Well, you're paying for the advertisements as well, though. Like you pay for all those ads.
Fair
point. An additional, those are ad campaigns. Those are completely separate from this, to my knowledge. Maybe there's some perks rolled in. I don't know about what the perks are, but to my knowledge, it was just like the verification. In addition to you have a certain number of individual accounts within your organization that you're basically like buying all of that for. Essentially, it's kind of how it works. So. But yeah, gold indicates the account is an official business account. I already read that. My bad. While the gray indicates an account represents a government multilateral organization or government multilateral official. Yeah. So there's a bunch of people just losing their minds about this. I can kind of understand maybe like the Baltimore City. Like the police, the like more governmental type stuff of like, guys, this is us, we swear. I did think it was really funny they did it on 420.
Well, that's Elon though. I mean, this man has jokes.
Yeah, I think
he's entertaining. I think
he's really funny.
Scares the shit out of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he's entertaining. So
yeah. I think he's really funny. And I think people get so worked up and it's just like, bro, he's trolling you. This is like it's like a big joke to him. Like, but yeah, so the 420 thing gave me a laugh after his infamous Joe Rogan appearance.
Well, I mean, you also have to think this is also, the whole controversy about NPR and who else was that? There was another one. I forget who it is now, but they were just like, oh, we're not going to remain on this platform. CBC, Canada Broadcasting Company. They were like, we're not going to remain on this platform because you told the truth about us that we're government funded. And, Canadian Broadcasting Company, he puts a label like 70% funded by the government. And they're like, we're not 70% funded. We're under 70. And he's like, okay, fine. 69% funded by the government.
So funny.
So, yeah, there's a lot of trolling he does with it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, and like I don't know, I can understand kind of like the more official accounts of like, hey, we just want people to know that like we're real and this is our actual account. Because I'm sure like there's a bunch of police departments and weird stuff on there that doesn't have they don't have thousands and thousands of followers, Probably got like 5K, 10K, maybe. A lot of stuff like that though tends to be small accounts. But yeah,
Well, I love this part though. It says the Maryland State Delegate Marlon Ampry doesn't agree with the subscription service, and it shows his tweet, and it ends there. However, they leave out a lot of it, like this one. So Alyssa Milano goes on saying, so by revoking my blue check mark because I won't pay some arbitrary fees, someone can just be me and say a bunch of BS. Does that mean Twitter and Elon Musk are liable for defamation or identity theft fraud? No.
Oh, it's really
Absolutely not.
funny. It's really funny because she said this, somebody made a troll account has been posting crazy stuff on it, like crazy-ish. But it's so funny because like people believe it. Like people are like, yeah, it's probably something she said. And it's been very entertaining. Like there's an account that has literally the same name, but the end of it has another underscore. And like the bio is ridiculous. And so it's just been funny. People have been sharing posts from there. And I just thought it was funny is like, don't say stuff like this because people will just go and do it to troll you. Like,
by the way, the reason why Jeremy Hambley and Sydney Watson's show is called Community Notes is because this is a community note. They got it from this. Impersonation is still and has always been, since the rules set since 2018, verified checkmark or not, it is still against the rules. I love the fact that that is allowed now. I love the fact that they are actually doing this because when you look at these things, you see these people and you go in there and you read these and it's just like, well, who are you? It doesn't matter. You're not part of our crowd. So, I mean, this blue check mark has been used to say, I'm better than you. Look at me. And now they're crying because that's not a thing anymore.
I think it's really funny because like, okay, so like I have a check on YouTube, right? Because like when you hit 100K subscribers on YouTube, you can apply for a verification check mark to be like, this is me. Like, and that was like a really cool thing. I was like all excited, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, because it's just like the novelty of it. And then like, people kind of like, they're like, oh, that's you. It's not like, they know it's you. You know what I mean? But it's not something that I'm going to like hang my hat on forever and be like, this validates my identity. Like, no, bro, it's just like it was a fun little thing. It's like, I was new to YouTube. I was like, this is really fun. It's cool. But that's about it. Like, I don't know. I think people take that shit way too seriously. And
they definitely do. Like, I'll never be checked. It doesn't matter because especially on YouTube, you can make a deep fake about me. I'll just be like, hey, that's BS. It's not me. Even if I had like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million on my account, it's easy to tell somebody apart. It's easy to tell, whose account is not who's on that, There is an actual problem with people stealing the work of others because Jeremy Hambley had an intro. I think it came from the movie American Psycho, where they were talking about the Bud Light thing and marketing.
Yeah, and that one dude stole his intro.
Yeah. He
put out like 2 different videos too.
Yeah, they were literally the same video, just edited different ways, and I'm just like, dude, what?
Well, and he posted them to 2 different channels because I remember I like went and looked as soon as somebody saw that, but by the time I even looked at it, he had taken them off, and he stole the thumbnails.
I brought that up to him. I just sent him an email. I was like, the subject of it was, does this look familiar to your intro? And I just put the link, and he's just like, WTF, bro? They stole my work. It's like, yeah. He's like, where'd you find this? And I was just like, just came across my feed because he posted it in like 4 or 5 hours. It hit like 1,500 views, and that's how it came across my feed. And I'm just like, it looks familiar.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, do your own intro, man. If you want a cool, funny thing, like figure out how to do it. Don't steal somebody else's work. Because I mean, like, so many, Jeremy has editors and stuff. But anyway, Freely Ashley, few know about the first created synthetic hormone in 1938 and its side effects on mothers and their children and their children's children. Could you do some research on? I'll write that down. Hold on. Pause. Dithylstilbestrol? I feel like I said that correctly. Yeah, 1938. All right. Thank you for bringing that up. I will look into it. I've actually been kind of wondering about doing like a deep dive on like hormonal birth control and stuff like that. So yeah, it might play in pretty well.
I gotta laugh at this one.
I incited violence by telling somebody who called Irish people knucking. Bro. Who called Irish people knuckle-dragging potato boys? Why? I'm sorry. If you're Irish, that's potato boy. Like, I can't. I can't.
People can have some great sense of humors, even if it's something horrible. But yes, I saw that come across there, and I was like, yes, this is great. This is awesome. But yeah, even Charlie Sheen, like this one right here. Oh my God, guys! I'm sorry your fancy rocket exploded in spectacular fashion. I'm certain you'll build an even bigger and more explodey one. Now, may I please have my blue check back? It would mean a lot to me. Thank you in advance. Sincerely, Charlie Sheen.
Bro, I thought this was really funny. Like, and even bigger and more explodey one. Well, go to his profile. Like, click on the main thing and then go down. So he still has it, right? So go down one more. That's his pin tweet. Go down. Oh no, go back up. Back up. Because there's a second one that. No. Did he delete it? Go back up. There we go. Oh, okay. So I'm just wrong. My bad. I was like, no, go up. That's the tweet I needed. It said, yeah, when he like paid the $8 for. So Elon Musk paid a couple of celebrities $8. And he said, oh my, it's like Christmas and my birthday all at once. Elon Musk, I'm flushed with gratitude. Rock star move, good sir. So it's actually funny because people were kind of citing this as like, oh, look, he was demanding his blue check mark back and then started sucking up when he got it. And I was like, well, he wasn't really like his, like this post is pretty, it's not so much demanding. He's literally like, may I please have it back? It's more like begging. So you can.
I think that was. I do think it was an underhanded thing, but I think it was more supposed to be like a joke, like a little jab kind of situation. Is like he understands because I'm sure he knows that Elon Musk was like, look, this probably isn't going to work and it's probably going to explode, but we're going to learn a lot from it. And then it exploded. So yeah.
I mean, he's had a lot of failures, but that's the name of the game when you're building freaking rockets.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, look at what was it? Apollo 12, Apollo 13 was the one that exploded. The Challenger.
12. I thought it was the one before 13. I don't know. I'd have to. It wasn't a 13 like there's like a bunch of movies made and they like went up in space.
That was Apollo 11.
That was Apollo 11. Okay, my bad.
But yeah, I feel like this one was more of a kind of trolly kind of. Yeah, your thing blew up, but help me out a little bit here. I could understand this one. I could see. I think it is actually hilarious. I don't think he's having a meltdown. It's just great.
No, I thought it was funny. I think Stephen King had the meltdown because he got like mad. So like there's factions of celebrities that were mad about their blue checks being taken, right? And then they were like, no, we don't even want the blue checks. I don't want that blue check because I don't want anyone to like, I don't want to pay you this $8. And Stephen King, like, so Elon paid for his, and Stephen King's like really mad about it. Like he's really irritated. He's like, no, I don't want it. And like, it actually is really disheartening for me because I used to love Stephen King. Like I I have like so many of Stephen King's books. He was one of the very first authors I really started to enjoy. I read Salem's Lot when I was like 13. It was like the first like horror book that I've ever read, and I love that genre. So when I when I got to Twitter and I started seeing what he was saying, I was like, oh my god, like, he's lost his freaking mind. Like, it's really
He's
disappointing.
always been a weird psychotic dude, though. That's how he writes his stories, which are a lot of his old stuff is great. His new stuff is just like, this lamp is now a possessed alien demon baby. What?
I haven't read any of his new stuff. I think unfortunately, because he was really into he had a lot of addiction issues. Like, he doesn't even remember writing Cujo. Like, has no memory of writing Cujo. That's how messed up he was when he wrote it. And it was just like a fantastic book. And it's like, oh, that's really unfortunate for you, bro. Like, I can't imagine being blitzed out of my mind like that and having it be good and come together well. Because I am a writer, if anybody didn't know. By the way, you should follow my Substack, or like however subscribe to it, whatever you do over there. Because I'm trying to get more into like writing again, and maybe like some more, I don't know, like journalistic type stuff. I need to shake the dust off, so to speak. So yeah, Substack is in my link tree. But
as a matter of fact, we'll bring it up after this little story here. I'll put it in the rotation real quick, and we can check out the one she sent me about it. And I totally forgot till you mentioned it. Thank you, because I was just gonna totally just pass that one up. I apologize.
Oh no, I mean,
but yeah,
it came up naturally. So
Stephen King, like his early work, you're talking about Christine, you're talking about
Christine, Salem's Lot, Pet Cemetery, Cujo,
The Shining.
The Shining is a huge one.
If you can get past the adult situation with the kids in It, that was one of the very few movies as a kid scared the living crap out of me.
I've read the entire book, and it took me a while to read because it's a huge book. It's like that and like Dreamcatcher are both like just freaking chunks. And it was
weird until the worms started coming out of people's butts, and then I'm just like, what happened here?
Dreamcatcher was a good one. I can't remember if I read the book. I mean, I've seen the movie like a bunch. I know I have the book. That's actually a problem with me. I'll buy like 1 million books all at once, and then like it just takes me forever to get through them all. Especially now, it's a little bit harder, and I'm trying to get more into nonfiction. Like, that's what was my like. I love fiction, and I love like fantasy and stories and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah. So I
will admit that it was the star of Dreamcatcher. That dude was incredibly great.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, away is the gay. I still laugh at that. That's funny. But yeah, the reason why we bring this up is his little weird meltdown, and Elon's reaction is great. You want to go ahead and read that, Ashley?
It says my Twitter account says I'm subscribed to Twitter Blue. I haven't. My Twitter account says I have given a phone number. I haven't. Then
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste. And that, it's just so funny. It's like he knows how much he hates him, and he's like, I'm going to troll you. I'm going to just pay.
He did it just to be like, you were the one saying you were going to leave Twitter. You're not going to pay for this. You were being.
They all say that they're going to leave Twitter, and then they don't. I'm like, yeah, because you're all just as addicted. Because like, where else are you going to just spew your ranting ramblings online that people care about? Like, you can do that on Instagram.
Mastodon that's just going to ban you?
Mastodon is a crazy place anyway. Like, I saw people moving there. I'm like, you're weird. You're weird people. Like, I'm not gonna go to some weird like third. I don't know. That app seems crazy. And I guess there was like a bunch of like, I don't know, super anti-Semitic people over there and stuff like that. And maybe they were trolling. I don't freaking know, but it just was funny to me. Like, you have all these problems with the way people talk about things, and you're going to go to a platform that's just like rife with all of the hateful rhetoric that you hate so much, which is actually probably pretty legit. But
Yeah,
But yeah.
this one's a little bit weird too. I mean, I love the fact that that Stephen King was trolled so hard. You know full well he was just raging out when he saw that. You know full well he was raging about that one because they always have that problem.
Hey Evan, yeah, people react to my stuff all the time. Whatever. Like I don't know where he's doing it. But yeah, they can have a blast with that. The consistency videos that I do are just like fun. They're like fun little quick, and people really hate those ones. So whatever.
Right. But yeah,
They can have a good time with that. I don't watch people reacting to my stuff. I don't typically do that, especially if I get the vibe that they're gonna just hate on me the whole time. There's no point of me. I'm not gonna go back and forth with people. I make my content, I put it on the internet. People can do what they want with it after that.
Me on the other hand,
reacting to it. So
I enjoy the back and forth with people. It makes my day.
It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of my time. I don't have a lot of time. I did it on TikTok for so long, right? So like I would just go back and forth, and I would talk to people, and I would try to, and it was just always like me trying to be like calm and reasonable and like explain my position on something, and they would just like call me a bunch of names and call me names, make a million assumptions about me, things that don't matter, and every once in a while I'll respond to one of those. But for the most part, I just stopped doing that. It's just like I said, just a waste of my time. I have a lot of stuff going on. I have 2 kids. I have work. I have my social media stuff. Like I don't have time to waste on people. And the thing about it is, I follow Zuby. I don't know if you guys follow Zuby. He said something the other day though that was like, what did he say? Basically, essentially, it was like people are going to talk about you. Just keep working.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
I like Zuby. He's pretty cool.
He's really cool.
Level-headed people I've seen, but the fact that he trolls and he did that the what was it, the deadlift or the deadlift record, saying he's a woman, the deadlift, and says this is stupid, I'm a man. That was epic.
Yeah, that was a really funny one. No, Zuby's cool people, man, and I think I listen to him a lot and listen to the message he puts out in the world, and it just amazes me that people hate him or like don't, like it's like, dude, he's actually like a really good guy. And I had that whole talk with him on my YouTube, which I was super nervous to do. It was like I never expected him to agree, and so like I like sent him a message like, will you come on my YouTube channel? He was like, yep, in like 2 days, and I was like, okay. No, it was, so I don't know. I haven't watched that back in a while, and I don't really want to because I was just so nervous during it. Ashley, when you talk like liberal, you know the words, and they know the stuff, and you could tear it apart. You get them especially riled up. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people act like hard. It's funny to me because people will say, "Oh, you're just lying. You don't know what the left even wants. You don't know what leftists are even like. You don't know the things that they advocate for." Because I don't know. I think a lot of people they base the world off of their own perspective, obviously, and so they get stuck in that's not happening mindset of like nobody's advocating for that because they're not advocating for that personally, and they're ignoring it on the interwebs. But yeah, I don't know. Anybody who leaves the cult members really don't like.
Well, no, see, Stacey, his was in the UK. If I'm not mistaken, he still holds that. That was a bench press that Canada dude did, not deadlift. But yeah, LeBron James's little. This is weird. This is just incredibly weird. I don't know what this dude was thinking. He says, "Well, guess my blue check will be gone soon because if you know me, I ain't paying the $5." And then after all this whining, King James paid for his check mark. Clown. And I don't think this is one Elon Musk did.
What did Greg say? I love Greg. What did he say?
LeBron,
a couple things. The check
mark is white, not blue. It's $8, not $5. DM me if you need help paying.
He's that account is so funny.
Then there was another one that kind of went through same thing, but they have their night mode on, so it's black to them, not white. They're on mobile, so it's 11, not 8.
I'm in dark mode. I can't do the white. I don't know how y'all do like white everything on your screen. Like it hurts my eyes. I have to do dark mode on like everything.
I keep everything dark mode.
Yeah, I can't. I can't keep
the only time I actually do like it with a white background or something like that is if I'm like outside and the sun is shining, because that actually does help for everything to be white. That way the sun kind of, that kind of blurs away with the light from the sun, and all you see is the black writing. That's about the only time I like that. But I keep mine dark, so everything on the screen is going to be black background. But yeah, this one is just incredibly funny because the dude has always been talking about, well, this is not fair. This is this. This is that. The dude did not pay that $10,000-$15,000. He got it because he's an influential person, but decided to pay the money because, well, $5 is literally pocket change to the dude. So, sorry, $8 is pocket change to the dude. But yeah.
It's just silly. It's just a silly thing. Like, oh, you're gonna complain about $8. Okay, man. But yeah, the Vic, that last chat I just showed. I think it's funny because my husband's like you. He doesn't have any social media. Not one thing. Like he watches YouTube. That's about it. And he's just always like, I'm just a much happier person. So I just always think it's funny. Like there's very few people who are unscathed by social media. And but I always laugh at him because he'll like read an article and he'll complain about it to me, or like, go on a tangent or whatever. I'm like, look, if you had social media, you could do this. You could just complain about everything. He goes, no, I would type way too. I would just go off way too much. I can't be on there.
All right. One more thing before we cut this and do our little Rumble segment. Segment words are a thing. Yeah, our Rumble segment's going to be. Remember, guys, when we said that Gavin Newsom was going to be the DNC front runner? Well, it looks like he's starting that run. We will discuss that on Rumble only. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, Ashley here has a Substack. She's starting to go off into a little bit of reporting. She has this one.
Yeah, I don't even know if we could show that picture.
No, not on YouTube.
I was like, don't go down much farther because I don't want to get it pulled. But yeah.
Matter of fact, there you go.
Thanks, appreciate that.
But controversial statue causes waves on Twitter. You want to go and talk a little bit about this? I know we can't show any more about this, but you want to give the gist of what's happening here.
Yeah, so there's this sculpture in Denmark, and it is currently outside of a museum. Now the museum used to be called I cannot pronounce the actual Danish name, but essentially it was the Women's History Museum, and they changed the name. Either it was between 2016 and 2021. I couldn't find the exact date. I found a couple different conflicting dates. So I'm not sure exactly when that happened. And also there's a lot of that information in Danish, and I don't speak Danish, so I can only rely on Google Translate and stuff like that, and secondhand accounts from English accounts anyway. So they changed their name to the Gender Museum, Cone Gender Museum, or Con, and have been really big about inclusivity and gender topics as opposed to women's history. And then the statue was actually created by an artist who essentially wanted to have a conversation about breaking gender stereotypes and norms. So he made this statue for International Men's Day. And the statue depicts a male with all of it exposed in the nether regions there, with I'm trying so hard to watch my wording to comply. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that super chat. So he's breastfeeding a baby, essentially. So it's a male breastfeeding baby, and then he donated it to this museum a couple years later. And it's been a controversial thing in Denmark, like basically all of 2022 when it first was put in there. But yeah, um, and a bunch of Twitter users like started sharing it, and somebody shared it, and it like went viral, and caught wind. So I just was like, oh, this is actually an interesting thing, and I'm going to write an article about it because I feel like a lot of things come from Twitter, and nobody really knows like the full story of it. But so that's why I wrote like the whole piece about it. So you can go read it. It's like a 2-minute read. It's super quick, super fast. Just kind of going over, gives the statement of the artist and why he created the statue in the first place. So you can kind of see the background of it. And I wrote it from as from an unbiased, like as leaving out any of my own personal bias as I could. It's very just strictly like here's the facts. Here's what happened. Here's the statue. You can learn more about it here. I think I linked a couple articles in there, so you can go check that out because I would like to get more into like journalistic type writing, at least just for my own like skill development and stuff like that. And I want to try to be as unbiased as humanly possible when I do that kind of stuff. So you can tell me what you think about it.
I knew nothing about it till you sent it to me, and I was just like, all right, let me check this out. And I read it, and I was like, oh God, what is happening?
It's so crazy to me. It's like, bro, like this is what we're talking about when we say the erasure of women, because you're trying to make it seem like men and women are just so interchangeable and that we can just swap them out. Doesn't matter. Like, no, you can't do that. And especially just in the regards of an infant and who is feeding them and who is carrying them. It's like women do that. I don't care what you say. Right. You can say that you're not a woman all day, but you are if you have a baby.
I do want to, before we run off into this Rumble section, I do want to point out something that just happened here. Apparently, somebody had made some comments about you. The account was Black Alien. I'm gonna watch out for that one. Yeah. They said some derogatory, not hateful, but adult situation type comments towards you.
Oh,
watch out for that one.
But like a creeper? Like he's a creeper?
I'll tell you what he said after the show.
Okay.
Because I cannot repeat it, nor will I. But yeah,
people are weird, dude.
We're about to head on over to Rumble. I'm gonna tear into Gavin Newsom. I'm gonna have fun with this one. But yeah, we're about to head on over to Rumble. We kept everything live here because it's good for Ashley's channel. That plus fact we rolled into halfway through the second subject before I realized we didn't cut feeds. My bad. But yeah.
Yeah, that's your fault this time. I did that once. So
yeah. But we're about to head on over to Rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all go over there. Let's have some fun over here in Rumble and interact with you guys a little bit more. But for now,
I'm going to answer this really quick. Just curious, Ashley, is YouTube your only job or you do something else? YouTube is not my job, guys. It's not my job. I am monetized. That is, I'm very grateful to be monetized so quickly, especially. But I do not make a living off of YouTube. It is something that I do because I enjoy it, and the monetization allows me to be rewarded for the time that I put into, making content, stuff like that. I have a job. I have a work from home job that I do here. So I basically, for anyone wondering, I'm basically a copywriter. I make social media content for small businesses.
And for TJ, I'll put that in there as well. I'll go ahead and type out.
Dude, isn't it such a good song? I love it. He sent me like a couple song options to like do our little intro, and I like heard that, and I was like, that one right there, that one. It's so much fun.
Yeah, she was just like on it. She's just like, I want this one. I was like, oh, all right.
It gives me like early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, like emo punk scene vibes. That's what it gives me. I love it.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead, cut everything but Rumble. Go ahead and join us over there. I put the link in the comments. I was going to say in the description. It's also in there as well. But head on over to Rumble here and let's have some real fun with this one. But for YouTube, y'all have a good night. We'll see you again very soon. I hate how you have to do this individually.
Bye, guys.